Welcome. We are about to do a deep dive into something that really affects every single developer, every solopreneur who's trying to use AI to scale up.
Right.
We're talking about how to stop your software's voice, your marketing copy, from sounding like it was written in a vacuum. You know, that synthetic
It's
sound.
sound that just repels buyers. It's the sound of automation that's just not governed properly.
Exactly.
It's a thing that immediately flags your work, whether it's, I don't know, API docs or a landing page, as low effort. Or worse, untrustworthy.
It just erodes that trust before anyone even clicks buy.
It really does.
And our guide for this today comes from a source we are incredibly lucky to have access to. We have to give a huge specific thank you to the ex-freelancer.
Absolutely.
They gave us access to their unreleased book, Boring Problems, Big Money. And this isn't just theory. This is like a tactical instruction manual.
Yeah, it's a blueprint, really. And today we're focusing on one piece of that.
Yeah.
A really high-leverage instruction from Chapter 8 called the Ghostwriter Protocol.
The Ghostwriter Protocol. Okay.
And the whole point of this protocol is to make sure that everything you generate with AI docs, listings, onboarding emails, it all looks like it was written by a highly paid human expert.
Not a generic language model.
Exactly. Not some off-the-shelf LLM.
Okay, let's unpack this right now, because the stakes aren't just about sounding nice. They're financial, right?
Totally.
The architect's job is governance, and that starts with language. So just stop for a second. If you are using AI right now to write your marketing copy,
For your website, for an ad, for anything.
and you haven't put in a very specific linguistic constraint, you are actively losing what the book calls the aesthetic of trust.
And you can just watch your conversion rates flatline.
Yeah.
Because your copy, it just sounds robotic.
And it's worse than just sounding boring, isn't it? I mean, the trap is actually an algorithmic one.
Oh, it's absolutely an algorithmic one. I mean, did you know that a single predictable word can actually trigger suppression?
What do you mean by suppression?
We're talking about things like Google's helpful content systems. They were getting so good at de-ranking content that just signals low value.
So it smells like AI and Google just pushes it down.
It pushes it down. Or, compliance checks on Amazon or in the app stores, they can immediately tag your text as synthetic content if it hits too many of those markers.
Wow, that changes the entire conversation. So a bad word choice isn't just a style mistake.
No.
It's basically a security vulnerability that gets you penalized by the very platforms you need for distribution.
Precisely. The platforms are in an arms race against this flood of low-value text. AI prose, it lacks soul, sure, but the real problem is it lacks variation. It lacks rhythm.
It's too perfect.
It's too perfect, syntactically flawless, but there's no natural messiness to it, no cognitive friction that keeps you reading.
And that uniformity, that predictability, that's the signal.
That's the signal, and it leads directly to reader abandonment. People just tune out, and that is tracked. Low time on page, high bounce rate. All of that tells the algorithm this content is worthless.
So for a microsauce architect who's building a really high-value tool, this is an existential threat.
It is.
Your amazing product just becomes noise because the packaging, the language, is cheap.
Right. And the problem is that the AI is trying to do too much at once. It's trying to be professional, accurate, authoritative. And to do that, it just defaults to the safest, most generic words.
We have to force it out of that safety zone.
We have to.
Okay, let's get tactical. This brings us to the core idea from the book. It's called the dead word ban list. What is this, and how does it work?
So think of this list as a proactive defense mechanism. It's designed to surgically eliminate what the author calls the lexical signature of the AI contractor.
The lexical signature, that's a powerful phrase. It's like a fingerprint the algorithms are scanning for.
It is exactly that. And it comes from a psychological fallacy that's kind of built into the models themselves.
Okay, what's the fallacy?
AI models are trained on just massive amounts of text, business, academic, technical stuff. And so they're optimized to be coherent. They overuse what the book calls high-utility, low-specificity words.
Walk me through that. High utility, low specificity. What's an example?
A high-utility word is one that works in lots of different contexts. It sounds important. It helps transition a sentence. But low specificity means it doesn't actually mean anything concrete.
It sounds professional, but it's hollow.
It's completely hollow. And the AI uses these words with what the book calls a statistically improbable frequency compared to a human expert. It's just reaching for the safest possible word to sound smart.
So the AI is always picking the safest, most common, and therefore most boring and predictable term every single time. That predictability is the tell.
That's it. These words are statistical anchors. You can call them AI tells. Detection algorithms are built to find them.
And when the text relies on these tells, it looks predictable. And that's what you call low perplexity, right?
Right. And at the same time, if the AI isn't forced to vary its style, all the sentences start to sound the same. Same length, same structure. That's low burstiness.
Okay, let's really drill into that. Perplexity and burstiness. This is where the architect separates from the freelancer, because this isn't just editing, this is engineering. How does that boring military marching band cadence translate mathematically to low perplexity?
Perplexity basically measures how surprising a text is. So imagine reading a sentence. For every word, you're calculating the odds that that specific word would come next.
Okay.
If the AI is just picking the most statistically likely word every single time, there are no surprises. The text has very low informational entropy. It's boring because your brain can guess what's coming next.
And a human writer, a good one, they use metaphors, they make leaps, they pick a rarer word because it's more impactful.
Exactly. They increase the surprise, the perplexity. The AI, by default, kills it.
So if low perplexity is the math for boring, then low burstiness is the monotonous rhythm that puts you to sleep.
That's absolutely right. Burstiness is the cadence. It's the rhythm of the information. Unconstrained, an AI will write, a 20-word sentence, then an 18-word sentence, then a 22-word sentence.
All neat and tidy?
Perfectly uniform and perfectly monotonous. Because real writing, especially good commercial writing, has extreme variation.
What does that variation look like? What's high burstiness in practice?
High burstiness is deliberate, it's rhetorical. You use a short, punchy sentence, 5 words. The system failed. High impact.
Right.
Then you follow it with a long, complex sentence, maybe 35 words, that gives all the nuance and justification for that punchy statement.
So the system failed because the legacy infrastructure, despite warnings from the Q4 audit, was never stress-tested against the new user profile, leading to catastrophic data loss.
Exactly that. The short sentence is the hook. The long sentence earns the trust with detail. That variation is the hallmark of high burstiness, and its absence just feels mechanical.
So the book calls this burstiness enforcement. It's not just about asking the AI to write better.
No, that's useless.
It's about giving it quantitative instructions to critique its own rhythm. This is the recursive self-improvement protocol, or RSIP.
That's the key tactical move that separates the architect. You are imposing a meta-constraint. You're not just prompting, you're prompting the AI to perform forensic analysis on its own output.
So phase 1 is generate the text. What's phase 2?
Phase 2, the RSIP, is a non-negotiable instruction, something like analyze the output, identify all sentences that are repetitive in length. Now rewrite it, ensuring no 2 consecutive sentences have a length difference of less than 5 words.
That is extremely specific. You're not just hoping for better writing, you are forcing the AI out of its statistical comfort zone.
You're forcing it into the high-entropy space of human rhetoric. It's architectural control applied to language. And the result is copy that actually bypasses those algorithmic filters.
Let's get really concrete here. What does this failure state actually look like? Give us the prose that just screams AI contractor.
The failure state is when the AI tries too hard to sound sophisticated. It generates prose that's, technically accurate, syntactically perfect, but completely unengaging.
It uses those low specificity words.
It leans on them. The examples in the book are perfect red flags. Words like delve, underscore, and tapestry.
Tapestry. Oh, that's an immediate flag for me. It sounds so academic, not tactical.
It's the ultimate abstraction. Consider this sentence, which an AI will almost inevitably write if you don't stop it.
Okay.
This dashboard underscores the vital necessity of managing your tapestry of inventory data.
Ugh, yeah. As the book says, that has the rhythm of a military marching band, perfect cadence, perfectly boring. I read that and my brain just checks out. It's boilerplate.
And let's break down the failure there. Underscores is weak. It could be shows or highlights.
Right.
Vital has 0 specificity. If everything is vital, nothing is. And tapestry is just this flowery, unnecessary metaphor for what is actually an inventory network or a data schema.
And that little mental skip the reader does, that's the abandonment the algorithms are tracking. A cascading failure that starts with just 3 bad words.
Exactly. And this isn't just for sales copy. Think about user manuals or API documentation. If your docs are written in that style, the user will instinctively distrust the precision and reliability of your entire application.
So the aesthetic of trust collapses. It's like the aesthetic usability effect from Chapter 12. If the UI looks bad, you assume the code is buggy.
It's the same cognitive bias. If the language sounds synthetic, you assume the business is unstable or a fraud.
Okay, let me push back on this a little bit, though. If we ban words like vital or crucial, aren't we risking losing emphasis when something really is important?
That is an excellent question.
Yeah.
And that's where the power of negative constraint is so brilliant.
Okay.
By banning the generic intensifier, you force the AI to achieve intensity through specificity, not exaggeration.
So instead of saying it's vital to back up your data,
You force the AI to describe the consequence of failure. You say, failure to back up your data will result in immediate, non-recoverable compliance penalties.
you replace the vague emotion of the word with the hard fact of the risk.
Exactly. You make the language tactical. Specificity becomes your sales leverage.
So let's go back to the tactical execution, the RSIP. How does a listener actually implement burstiness enforcement today in a prompt?
Okay, you integrate it into the refinement stage after the first draft.
Hmm.
The instruction has to be quantitative. You tell the AI, review the preceding text, identify the length of the 10 longest and 10 shortest sentences. Now rewrite it, maximizing the difference between consecutive sentences. Ensure no two sentences in a paragraph have a word count variance of less than 40%.
40%? Why that specific number?
It forces big rhetorical jumps. A 15-word sentence can't be followed by a 17-word one. It has to be something much longer or much shorter. It forces the model to use a short sentence for punch and a long one for justification.
And this recursive process also reinforces the ban list, right?
It's a feedback loop. When the AI is forced to vary sentence length that dramatically, it can't rely on those safe, generic words anymore. It has to retrieve more specific, lower probability terms.
So the RSIP is an automated editing phase that acts as a secondary filter to catch any dead words the initial prompt missed.
Precisely. You are the cognitive architect. You're writing the spec for the machine's own editing process.
Okay, let's shift to the solution. The enforcement of negative constraint. This is the architect's mandate.
Correct. The key to this is not just telling the AI what you want, but strictly defining what you forbid. The solution is to provide that specific, explicit ban list in every single prompt.
Non-negotiable.
Absolutely a non-negotiable.
Let's give the listeners the precise list from the book.
Okay, the dead word ban list is broken into 3 categories. First, the abstractions. These are the flowery words you must forbid. Delve, realm, landscape, tapestry, testament.
So tapestry becomes data network, landscape becomes market, delve becomes analyze.
Exactly. You swap the general image for a specific noun or verb. The second category is the intensifiers. These are the words that signal importance but are just meaningless now. Forbid, underscore, crucial, vital, optimize.
Right. If everything's crucial, nothing is. And
Yeah.
optimize. That's just a classic generic software pitch word.
It is. By banning them, you force the AI to state the concrete consequence, the risk, the compliance failure, the lost revenue.
And the third category.
The hype, the sales boilerplate, these are the words that just burn out the reader instantly. Forbid,
Yep.
game changer, unleash, leverage.
That last group.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pure hustle culture vocabulary that just screams low quality.
So by banning these specific words, you force the AI into what the book calls lexical retrieval.
It has to go deeper into its vocabulary map.
It has to access those lower probability sectors. It has to be more specific.
So let's go back to our fail sentence. This dashboard underscores the vital necessity of managing your tapestry of inventory data. What does the corrected version sound like?
With the ban list enforced, the AI is forced to output something clearer, more trustworthy. This dashboard highlights the essential need for controlling your inventory network,
It's shorter, it's clearer, and it sounds like something a busy CTO would actually write.
not something a content mill generated.
This level of constraint is...
Yeah.
It's really impressive. But you mentioned compliance before. How does this ban list protect the asset from, platform rules?
That's a critical point. The Ghostwriter Protocol has 3 pillars: the ban list, the RSIP for burstiness, and compliance auditing. The freelancer always overlooks compliance. The architect can't.
Give us a high-stakes example.
Okay, Amazon KDP. They have incredibly strict rules for book descriptions. You can't use subjective claims like best-selling or revolutionary in your keywords or titles.
And an unconstrained AI will just naturally reach for those hype words.
Exactly. If your AI-generated description uses game changer, it gets flagged, it gets suppressed, maybe even rejected. The ban list, by killing those vague intensifiers, helps you maintain a posture of professionalism and compliance.
So the stylistic rule achieves a regulatory goal.
It connects everything. The style forces professionalism, which drives reader engagement, which pleases the platform's algorithm and avoids the compliance flags. A failure in style is a failure in governance.
That really clarifies the architect's role. It's not about writing code anymore. It's about writing high-level specifications for automated systems.
You're the system designer. You define the role, the context, and crucially, the constraints.
I want to go back to the specific rhetorical devices for a second. Beyond just varying sentence length, what can the architect mandate the AI use to sound more human?
Two devices have a huge impact. First is tricolon, the rule of three. It's very common in persuasive human speech.
So instead of "our system is secure and fast,"
It becomes, our system is secure, lightning fast, and universally compliant. You force the AI to find three specific non-synonymous adjectives. It increases the information density.
okay, and the second one?
Anaphora. That's the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses. It creates rhythm and focus.
So instead of a boring list of features,
You get a persuasive rhythm. The AI must rewrite a list to be, we remove the delay, we remove the complexity, we remove the necessity of manual review. It's a hallmark of great human sales copy.
that's the difference. The freelancer asks for a list of benefits. The architect asks for a list of benefits using anaphora and tricolon while adhering to the dead word ban list.
It's the difference between a cheap input and a strategic, high-leverage constraint. That is the Ghostwriter Protocol.
And just to close the loop, why are these specific dead words so common for the AI in the first place? Is it just trained on mediocre corporate writing?
That's a huge part of it. The training corpus is biased. It's full of corporate white papers and generic online content where words like vital and leverage are just filler. They establish a sense of importance without making a concrete claim.
So the models learned that the safest way to sound professional is to use these vague signifiers.
Exactly. So by banning them, you're performing a kind of controlled pruning. You're forcing the model down the less traveled paths in its stomantic network to where the specific higher value vocabulary lives.
So we're admitting the training data has a stylistic bias that needs an executive override.
You're admitting that statistical safety and commercial persuasion are fundamentally different goals. The architect has to choose persuasion.
And this all comes back to efficiency. If you had to manually edit every piece of AI output, you'd lose all the leverage.
You're pushing quality control upstream. The freelancer writes, then edits. The architect writes the constraint and lets the machine do its own quality control. That's leverage.
Okay, one final word. Optimize. It's so common. Why is that one on the list?
Because it's passive. It doesn't say what changed or how. It's a substitute for a clear verb and a measurable outcome.
So instead of "our code optimizes your database queries,"
The constraint AI is forced to say, our code reduces query latency by 40%, or our code eliminates unnecessary join operations. It substitutes an abstract goal for a concrete, quantifiable action.
proof, not promise.
Is exactly what a high-value customer needs to see.
So if a listener is looking at their website's hero section right now and sees 4 or 5 of these words, what's their immediate triage plan?
Simple. Find every banned word. Replace it with a tangible noun or a quantifiable verb. If you see vital, state the consequence of failure instead. Then, immediately, you integrate the ban list into your master prompt for all future work. Don't just fix the past, govern the future.
This deep dive really reveals the ultimate goal of the Ghostwriter Protocol, doesn't it? It's about achieving scalable intimacy.
That's it.
We can commoditize the syntax, we can commoditize the distribution, but we have to protect the soul, the rhythm of the message.
The difference between a high-converting asset and forgettable noise often comes down to removing just 3 or 4 of these specific, predictable words, and then enforcing that non-uniform rhythm.
And that's the high-leverage thinking that separates the freelancer who just accepts the default output from the architect who commands the intelligence to build a profitable, scalable system.
Right. And if you leave with one thought, it's this. The ultimate metric isn't technical accuracy, it's perceived specificity. Your copy should sound like a human wrote it at 2 in the morning. A little stressed, very specific, focused on the consequence.
Not like a machine wrote it at 2 in the afternoon, perfectly generic and completely boring.
The ban list is your shield against that. It forces the intelligence to deliver proof, not just prose.
Thank you for joining us for this tactical deep dive. We will see you next time.